Hello again, this is Athena Jezik. I thought that it would be nice to work on the feet. The feet are something that, they really get us around places, and they're oftentimes neglected quite a bit. I know there's a lot of times people go in for pedicures and all of that, which does give some attention to the feet, but we also want to realize that there's joints in there, and sometimes they get out of alignment if we step funny and kind of feel a little twisting or turning, and we want to make sure that we have proper alignment in the bones, and we want to make sure the muscles are relaxing as well. And so to take care of your feet is a good thing. Even just soaking them at night in something that's soothing is a good idea as well. You could, in baking soda or something that just a clean kind of a soap, not with a lot of fillers and additives, but a cleaner like soap would be another thing. Just get a little tub and stick your feet in. It's very relaxing. The bottoms of the feet have a lot of the reflexes. I'm not a reflexologist, but there are reflexes to different organs in the feet. So that's another thing to consider. Cooling those down, calming those down might help a little bit the rest of the body. I don't really know if that's true or not, but it makes sense to me that it could be. So I'm going to just start today putting a little bit of oil, and we'll start with this foot over here, which is the right foot. And you want to just get this on you can get under to the sole of the foot and down into the heel as well. And the bottoms of the feet should be tougher. They should be kind of like pads of a dog or a cat, because we're really meant to walk not in rubber shoes. We're meant to walk like on the earth, and we should have a fairly good sole on the bottom of our feet. But in today's world, we're all wearing rubber shoes, or most of us are, which I'll just bring a little point in here is when you're wearing the rubber shoes, you're not able to ground with the earth because it stops that grounding. When you walk on the earth, it gives you a certain charge. It's called earthing. Some of you probably know all about that, much more than I do. But it is a good idea to get your feet onto the earth every once in a while, every day if you can, just to get that little extra charge. Animals lay in the dirt, and that's a very healing thing for them to do. Concrete tends to also stop us from being able to have that charge. So if you can, try to take your shoes off in some grass or soft dirt or sand or something. It's partly why we feel so good when we go to the beach. It's not only wind and water and sun, it's also touching the earth. So I've just gone through the toes here, and it's just a matter of kind of separating them and wiggling them around with the little joints that are there. There's a lot of little joints in the toes. And the big toe, and just kind of working them. And then pulling down from the nail, it feels good to kind of just pull that down. Now, in massage, you're always working more towards the heart, especially when you're on the extremities. And so that goes for the toes too, and underneath. Now again, it's a little different on the bottom because they feel tougher. And you just kind of go between the toes, and then you can go between the toes if they'll spread. Now you're going to find some very odd-shaped feet from time to time, and oftentimes that's because as the foot was growing, they were put into a shoe that was not conducive to having the wider toe spread. And you'll see some of the misformation of the toes. There's ways to work that out with toe spacers. However, sometimes I don't think that if it's been that way for a long time, I don't know how far you can bring it back. The body's pretty incredible, so if you worked at it enough, it probably could make a big change for you. Now I'm just going to go up where these, where the tendons for the toes. You'll feel these long kind of things, and there's muscles in there as well. And you just want to go harder towards the heart. I just kind of ride back, but the more pressure is toward the heart, so it's pushing up the leg, and then I'm just gliding my hands back. You can kind of see it's just a glide back, because it feels good not to disconnect with it. And then you can check the ankle, see how well the ankle is moving. And then in the arch of the foot. Now in foot reflexology, the spine comes up the arch of the foot. So you can press into that, and sometimes the person will feel pain. I know that there's been times that people have pushed on things in my feet, and I don't know if they know about foot reflexology, but it's really hurt on certain points, so my organs might be a little bit off. Or it could just have been the pressure on a tender spot. Because I'm not a foot reflexologist, I don't know when pressure is good and when pressure is not good. So I'm not going to go in with a lot of pressure. I'm just going to go in with the intention to relax that and to give a little bit of stimulation to the structures of that are coming off of the bone. The parts in here are more the organs, and then the head is the big toe. So that makes sense that you're coming on the spine and there's the head. So there's different spots on the toes that are different things. The lungs are in there. But if you're not really a foot reflexologist and had the training, the basics, and you know the basics well, I would say just be careful, because it does hurt sometimes when people go into the bottom of the foot a little bit too strong. And if you're a foot reflexologist that has gone through the ropes of training, then you know what you're doing, and you can explain to your clients, you know, why you have to do what you do, and if it might hurt, and whatever. So that's another reason why you should be trained. You can go around this ankle bone in a little circle, and oftentimes back here. Now, if you're working on a pregnant woman, do not really work in this area. There's reflexes there that is not good if you do this. So I would say just kind of leave that area alone. This is also where when people get swollen feet, it fills up in this area. Doing a little lymph work on that is not going to be detrimental in the same way that putting pressure is. And then just riding along that foot, you can take the toes and kind of move them around, and then kind of rotate the foot with the hands back and forth. And you can check the cuboid bone, see if that's at the end of you'll see it better on the other foot. Check the cuboid bone for the alignment of the other bones. If that bone gets out of alignment, then you don't have a proper heel strike, and that's caused from maybe the low back, sacrum area being out of position, which would put the pelvis out of position, out of alignment, and then it would throw it down the leg. The knee might be affected after a while, and you'll have an off-balanced heel strike. So to maintain proper alignment at the subtle level, it's important to understand how the subtle alignment is from head to toe, and the parts have to be stacked on one another properly. Okay, so this is pretty good here. Just take a stretch up and bend it like so. Just bend it a little bit to open it up. You're pushing, your thumbs are just pressing up in the center of the foot and just spreading the tissue there. So that feels pretty good, feels pretty flexible. And then we'll go to the other foot and do similar thing. I don't really have a routine. I just kind of follow my intuition on some of this. But you do want to do similar things to each foot. I think routines are good. After you get to be a little more masterful at what you're doing, you'll just automatically do the same thing on each foot, or hand or arms, legs, because you'll know what you need to do. So here we go. We're going to just start with those little toes and wiggle them around. And the next toe. And the next toe. What's interesting about the toes is the lymph actually goes in a direction when it's on the pad of the top pad of the toe. As you walk and you push, it's actually working to push the lymph in the right direction to go up the toe. So, we're so miraculously put together. It's just amazing. And then go between these toes, but not all the way between, just more on the foot part. And then bend up, and same thing on the other side, just kind of, this is, sometimes you have to kind of manipulate your hands and body around some of this to get to where you need to. And then you can go in between the toes. That one's, there we go. And this next one, and the big toe. Sometimes you have to spread those toes a little bit to get your finger in, or you can use your little finger if it's kind of tight. And if it's too tight, or the toes are on top of each other or something and you can't do it, just kind of work it however you can to get as far in there as you can. And then we're going to run up these tendons, and you can feel them. I mean, just find them and follow them up about to the, and again, you put more pressure going toward the heart, and you just ride it back. When you're doing massage therapy, basically the pressure needs to be toward the heart. When you're doing lymphatics, you have to follow the opening of the lymph system. So if you were to combine some lymph work with massage, especially if the feet are really swollen, that's really not a good idea. You need to just concentrate on the lymphatic part, because oftentimes when the feet are swollen, they're hurting quite a bit because the fluid is so full, it's pressing on all kinds of things. So if you have somebody that's got really swollen feet and you're doing massage, I would say you know what you're doing with that fluid, because massage is a whole different modality than the other systems of the body. You're just working muscles. And most massage schools don't train you beyond the muscles, because that's what massage, myotherapy is all about. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just very limiting. It's a good place to start. But again, to really be able to work people that have real problems besides just wanting to relax temporarily, I would strongly urge you to expand your practice with more advanced modalities and get the basics down well. Now here's where the cuboid bone is, but I'm not quite ready to check that yet, because I want to get into the feet a little more, and I want to go up that, I'm going to go up that spine part, the arch of the foot, and just ride that up. And then do a little bit of circular work in the arch, but alongside of the outside of the spine of the arch. And up to the pads up here. And then just kind of spread them out, give them some exercise, because they're just kind of walk along. But they do a lot of work for us, and they take a lot of weight. You want to think about if you're lifting like you're carrying a suitcase or something heavy, then there's more weight on that foot too. We don't always think about things like that. And then around the ankle bone, check some of that out. Check a little bit there. You can push up. Now, and then just kind of move it back and forth. And do some of that. Now you can get to the cuboid. Cuboid bone is right at the end of this little toe. And you want to just feel how the alignment is with that bone. Especially with the feet. You also want to check the cuboid with the iliotibial joint up by the knee, because that's going to be affected if the cuboid is out. Like I was saying earlier, if the heel strike is off, you can bet there's other parts of the body that are also out of alignment. But it's so subtle that people don't really know that until years later when they develop more chronic pain. So that's pretty good. Everything feels pretty good in there. Spreading again, we're going to pull that out. And then just kind of rock that foot a little bit. Bend the toes up and down. It feels kind of nice. And again, you're very gentle with their feet. You want it to be a relaxing experience, not something that they're feeling pain. And you can feel, sometimes when I feel along the arch of the foot, I don't know, like I say, I don't know foot reflexology, but if I feel that the arch of the foot is out a little bit, I will also check the vertebrae in that location. And I usually do find a little bit of abnormal positioning. In the spine as well. Okay, so then we can just kind of finish up. And there you have 2 feet. If you have any questions about the feet, you can write a comment about it. I want to thank you all again for the subscribers. Thank you so much. I want to thank your comments and your likes. And I hope that you're getting some information out of this that you maybe didn't know. I want to thank the people that helped me out with the GoFundMe. I'm getting back to my normal schedule, but it's going to take a few more months for me to be able to walk well. And I'm glad to be back. So I can't wait to see you in the next video. And thank you very much. I want to invite you to explore my course, The Foundations of Subtle Alignment. It is going to take you beyond the work of massage therapy. It will take you into the world of the subtle anatomy. In this course, you will learn about the subtle anatomy and a protocol for assessing and aligning the subtle structures. Misalignment of the subtle structures is often the root cause of chronic pain, injuries, and chronically high levels of stress hormones. These techniques offer profound benefit whether you are working on people with complex issues or not.